Welcome back. Now let's revise appeals revisions. Now, first of all, see whenever a demand order is passed. Now, demand order passing is a process of adjudication where you as an officer adjudicate the matter and pass a demand order. Now, demand order can be favorable to assessee or it can be favorable to department. Sir, can both the parties file an appeal if they are not satisfied with the demand order? The answer is yes. But sir, this order is passed by department. How can department file an appeal against its own order? Commissioner can say that please file an application to the higher forum so that let them decide on this particular matter. And therefore, department can also file an appeal against its own order. Same way, if it is favorable to department, can assessee file an appeal? The answer is yes. There are totally 4 legs. First one, appellate authority. Second, appellate tribunal. Third tier, High Court. Fourth tier, Supreme Court. So, there is a 4-tier structure mechanism in GST. First one, appellate authority. Say suppose the order is passed by superintendent or it is passed by ACDC. Now if the order is passed by superintendent or ACDC, then the appeal can be filed to JC appeal. JC, Joint Commissioner. And what is this ACDC? Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner. Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner. Then an appeal can be filed to JC appeal. This JC appeal is not same as JC. No. Joint Commissioner is an officer. JC appeal is an appellate authority who basically hears the matter, while JC adjudicates. Adjudicate meaning he will decide the matter. He does not have the power to hear. If the order is passed by Joint Commissioner or Additional Commissioner, then we'll go to Commissioner Appeal. Now, Joint Commissioner Appeal and Commissioner Appeal, these two taken together are called as Appellate Authority, also the first tier or first level of appeal. Now, obviously, when you go and appeal, you are basically asking for some relief, so you'll have to give some pre-deposit because it's a temple of justice, and whenever you visit a temple of justice, you will obviously have to make some payments. Now, the amount which you have to pay is called as pre-deposit. How much is the pre-deposit? Admitted liability plus 10% of disputed tax, maximum 25 crores. Now, see this again. Say suppose a demand order is passed and this demand order is for 10 lakh. Now, I accept 4 lakh, saying that 4 lakh to anyways I have to pay. 4 lakh was the tax. So, I will have to pay 4 lakh plus interest plus penalty because I am not filing an appeal. This is called as admitted liability. So, admitted liability is that amount plus interest plus penalty. Then, what is the disputed amount which I am not agreeing? I am not agreeing to 6 lakh. So, this I will have to pay 10% of disputed tax. That is, I will end up paying 60,000 here. Clear with this? Okay. Then, say suppose I am not happy with the decision here as well. And in the second leg, I have to go to appellate tribunal. Now, the pre-deposit in appellate tribunal will be additional 20%. Additional 20%, if I go ahead and file an appeal for entire 6 lakh again, because it's already in appeal, 60,000 I have already paid, additional 1,20,000 needs to be paid. This is what I have to pay at second level, at appellate tribunal state. Sir, what if out of this I again admit 2 lakh. If I again admit 2 lakh saying that I am not going to win, then 2 lakh plus interest plus penalty would be the admitted liability at second level, and on 4 lakh I will have to pay additional 20%, which is 80,000. Sir, while paying this 2 lakh, will I get a deduction of 10% which I have already paid at first level? The answer is yes. Institute has never asked such question as to what would be the admitted liability in the second case, but see, 10% you have already paid as pre-deposit. Now when you accept it, you have to pay only 90%. Interest will apply on full, because when you pay here, you pay only 10% of disputed tax. Admitted liability, disputed tax. There's a difference in language. So be very careful on this. Plus 80,000 here. Out of this, 40,000 will go towards this one which I am appealing, and 80,000 I have to pay additionally for filing the second leg of the appeal. Clear with this? Yes. Okay. Now, what's the time limit which is available for filing an appeal? For SSC, the time limit is 3 months plus 1 month of condonation. For department, the time limit is 6 months plus 1 month condonation. Now, if you see this 3 months again and again, do you get a recall of some provision? First 3 months, no recovery can be initiated. Correct? Because first 3 months is the time limit to file a appeal, and hence first 3 months no recovery will be initiated. Okay. Pre-deposit admitted liability plus 10% of disputed tax, maximum 25 crore. This maximum is for 10% because admitted liability is something which you are admitting. So the maximum has to be read only for disputed tax. Now, will we double this for IGST? Because all this is only CGST. The answer is yes. This 25 crore will become 50 crore for IGST. Sir, will we double this percentage for IGST? The answer is no. See, never double a percentage of tax. Why should you never double percentage of tax? Because whenever we say percentage of tax, tax will automatically get doubled when you go to IGST. Say suppose 10% of 9 rupees, which is CGST. When you talk about IGST, this automatically will become 18. So you don't have to double a percentage which is percentage of tax. Only when it is percentage of anything else or amount, that is 25 crores, then you will double it for IGST. Remember this very well. Then appellate tribunal, from JC appeal or commissioner appeal. If you are not satisfied, you move on to appellate tribunal. Appellate tribunal, the time limit which is there is 3 months for SSC plus 3 months condonation. Department, 6 months plus condonation is not there. As of now, it's not there because tribunal has not been operational till now. Rules are there. All rules have come for your examination and those are very important. But tribunal per se is not into existence as of now. Then appellate tribunal. Appellate tribunal, state bench and principal bench. Principal bench will hear place of supply appeal. Plus principal bench is given one more task as of now, and that one more task is anti-profiteering. To examine and adjudicate an application of anti-profiteering. Earlier, only Competition Commission of India was responsible for this. Now they have added that authority will also include principal bench of appellate tribunal, because otherwise principal bench has only one matter, place of supply. Now they have one more matter, which is adjudicating and examination of anti-profiteering measures. This is one important change which has happened. Otherwise, normally tribunal will never adjudicate. But for GST, government has said tribunal is going to adjudicate and examine any application in anti-profiteering measures. Plus, from 1/4/2025, Competition Commission of India will not accept any application with regard to anti-profiteering. Everything will be directed only to the principal bench. Now, principal bench here's place of supply, stage bench here's other than place of supply. From principal bench, because place of supply is a matter of concern from IGST Act, it will directly go to Supreme Court. State cannot hear it because states don't make the law on that. Other than place of supply, it will go to High Court and then it will go to Supreme Court. High Court, the time limit to go is 180 days. Supreme Court, the time limit to file application is 60 days. Condonation is as per Code of Civil Procedures, which will be decided by High Court and Supreme Court, that we don't learn in indirect taxes. Now, be very careful about one thing. Whenever you talk about any appeal being filed, that appeal needs to be looked from the angle of level. First stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage. In High Court and Supreme Court, sir, there is no pre-deposit. Pre-deposit is there. I mean, the pre-deposit is of full dues. So 10 and 20% you have already paid. Balance 70% has to be paid before you go to Supreme Court or High Court, unless and until a stay is granted to you. They are powerful, they can grant a stay. If they grant a stay, no need to deposit anything. Thereafter, second level, you already know, admitted liability plus additional 20% of disputed tax, maximum is 50 crore. For IGST, it will be 100 crore. Now, if it's a section 129 case, what's 129, sir? 129 is, anyways, we will discuss it in offenses and penalties also. But 129 is a case where if during transit documents are not carried, penalty is 200% of the tax. If an appeal is filed for that, then the pre-deposit will be 25% of the disputed penalty. So 25% of 200% of penalty which is levied, that much will be the pre-deposit, and it is there only at first level. It is not there at second level for your exams. Now, there is a topic called as revisional authority. What does this revisional authority do, sir? See, basically, revisional authority revises the order which is passed by the officer. So, it's a senior level officer who can revise the order passed by the junior officer if it is favorable to assessee. Yes, if it is favorable to us, that means against department, then in that case they can revise the order. That means, sir, say suppose even if we win, we cannot celebrate because revisional authority can revise the order. The answer is yes. Let's understand the power of revisional authority and its exceptions also. Then now, if the order is passed by superintendent or assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, then the revisional authority, RA, for revisional authority for this will be joint commissioner or additional commissioner. If joint commissioner or additional commissioner has passed an order, then commissioner is the revisional authority. Revisional authority, what can it do? It can change the order passed by adjudicating authority if one, it is erroneous, that is, it is wrong, and it is against the revenue. Against the revenue meaning favorable to assessee. So even when you win the case, you cannot start celebrating because there can be two things which department can do. One, they can go ahead and file an appeal against their own order. So if it is passed in favor of assessee, they can go ahead and file an appeal. That time limit is 6 months. After 6 months, can I start celebrating, sir? No. Because after 6 months, this revisional authority power starts up to 3 years. So revisional authority can revise an order passed after 6 months but up to 3 years. How will the process work, sir? First, they will pick up the matter saying that this is the matter where I need to check. Then they will go through all these records. Then if they find that there is something wrong, then they will send a notice to assessee. Assessee will reply and then he can pass a revision order. And revision order, can it revise something which is favorable to assessee? The answer is yes. So once you win a case by demand order, adjudication order, can you start celebrating immediately? The answer is no. First 6 months department can file an appeal. After 6 months up to 3 years, a revision order can be passed by a senior level officer. Let's understand this. Say suppose something is favorable to department, no revision. Don't mix it with DT. DT allows revision. If it is favorable to department, no revision. If it is favorable to assessee, then there are two options available to department. Forget about us. It is anyways favorable to us. Two options for department. One, they can file an appeal 6 months, or revisional authority will revise it after 6 months but before the expiry of 3 years. So once 3 years is over from the demand order, can we start celebrating, sir? Yes, that's your actual victory. Okay, let's see 4 exceptions where revision is not allowed. First one, if it is already an appeal which is filed with appellate authority, appellate tribunal, high court, supreme court. If it is already an appeal, then in that case no need to revise, because say suppose the matter is with high court, can the revisional authority say, high court, you leave the matter, I am revising? At the end of the day, revisional authority is nothing but a officer. Officer cannot direct any appellate authority or appellate tribunal or high court, supreme court. Second, first 6 months and after 3 years from date of order cannot be revised. Already a revision order. If it is already a revision order, then a revision order can never be revised. And last one, order was already taken up for revision. If the order was already taken up for revision earlier, then it cannot be revised, because if it is already taken up by revision, taken up meaning the officer has picked it up, then he said no, everything is fine, and then he kept it aside. Now next officer coming cannot again repick it, because once it is taken up for revision, again it can never be taken up for revision. So be careful about this point. Now let's see one special point. Again, this is a order, demand order, which is issued by adjudicating authority. Now if it is favorable to department, there were 3 matters in this: matter A, matter B, matter C, like input tax credit, output minus ITC computation, or rate of tax. There can be various matters which are in litigation. Matter A, if it is favorable to department, cannot revise. Something which is already favorable to department, revisional authority cannot exercise its option. B, department filed appeal, no revision. If it is already in appeal, then appellate authority will decide. Revisional authority cannot use its power. C, favorable to assessee, department filed an appeal, but it was not decided by appellate authority, appellate tribunal, high court, supreme court, because they have the power. They can say that we will not hear this matter. So if the appellate authority, appellate tribunal, high court, supreme court have not decided a matter, can revisional authority then use its power? Yes. Then the time limit available is 1 year from the date of order of appellate authority, tribunal, high court, supreme court, or 3 years from the date of initial order. Initial order is this demand order, whichever is later. Plus, if there is a stay granted by high court, supreme court, then that period of stay, like revisional authority picked up and you went to high court saying that, tell him to not pick up, then say suppose during the hearing for 1 year there is a stay, then the time period which is spent in the stay will be excluded. Plus, say suppose the matter is same for me and another person, and for another person department has already filed an appeal, the matter the time spent between tribunal to High Court and High Court to Supreme Court will also be excluded in counting this 3 years time limit, because the time limit spent in litigation for one matter for some other person is to be excluded, because it doesn't make sense, because same matter is already being fought in court of law. For me, department has not gone ahead and filed anything as of now, but once the decision comes there, and if it is favorable to department, they can revise my order as well. So the time limit spent in tribunal to High Court, High Court to Supreme Court in some other matter, in the same matter for some other person, will be excluded for counting 3 years. So there are two exclusions for 3 years. One, if it is stayed by the court, and second, for the same matter for some other person, the time spent from tribunal to High Court and High Court to Supreme Court will also be excluded. Then first level appellate authority will hear the matter. It can enhance the tax only if fresh show cause notice is issued. It can enhance interest, penalty, fee, others. It can modify it, it can annul it, and it has to be a speaking order. It cannot remand back the matter. What is this remand back, sir? See, there are three things. Remand back, that is refer back. Refer back is send it to the lower authority to do a fresh adjudication or to decide afresh. Now let's see who all can remand back. Appellate authority cannot remand back. Tribunal has the power to remand back. High Court, Supreme Court has the power to remand back. Then talking about rectification of error which is apparent from the record. See, rectification of error which is apparent from record, anyone can do it. Apparent from record meaning there cannot be two views. It's very clearly visible that there is a mistake. And last one is review. Review of the order. Order once passed, can it be reviewed? No. Hey, just imagine appellate authority has passed an order, then he says no, I will again pass. Tribunal, no. High Court, Supreme Court, yes, they can review their own order. That's called as review petitions, which are filed in courts. Okay, now first level. Is date of filing a very important date? Correct. Now date of filing is very important date. Now how does it work? Say suppose once an appeal is filed. Now once you file an appeal, if the order appealed against is available online on the GST portal, then here the moment I file an appeal, I will get a provisional acknowledgement, and if it is available online, then a final acknowledgement will be issued by the department. Now what is my date of filing? Provisional acknowledgement or final acknowledgement? Government has said in the rules saying that provisional acknowledgement. The date of filing provisional acknowledgement, the date of getting provisional acknowledgement is the date of filing the appeal. If it is not available online, order is not available online. If order is not available online, then two cases. I file the self-certified copy within 7 days from the date of filing appeal. Then in that case, date of filing appeal will be date of provisional acknowledgement. Because provisional acknowledgement will be issued immediately once I file an appeal. Then if it is submitted after 7 days, then date of submission of order. The day I give that self-certified order, that will be considered as date of filing the appeal. Clear with this? Yes. Now this is not just for appellate authority. Same provisions have been added for appellate tribunal, both for department appeal as well as appeal by SSC. Then some very important points for appellate tribunal which we need to understand. See, appellate tribunal, we very well know that principal bench will hear two matters: place of supply and anti-profiteering examination and adjudication. State bench will hear other than place of supply. Now there have been some changes in this. Fees is 1000 for every 1 lakh, maximum 25,000, minimum 5,000. Other than tax interest penalty, like anti-profiteering cases, fees will be 5,000. Rectification of error, no fees. Departmental appeal, no fees. If the tax or interest is up to 50,000, then tribunal can refuse to admit that matter. They can say that we will not hear the matter. Now there are two benches in tribunal. One is single member bench, one person hears the matter. Divisional bench, two members hear the matter. If the matter is up to 50 lakh and it does not involve a question of law, then it can be heard by a single member bench. All other matters are heard by divisional bench. Now in divisional bench, if there is a difference of opinion, because single member bench there cannot be a difference in opinion. You cannot have a difference of opinion against yourself. But if there is a difference of opinion in a divisional bench, then they will inform the points of difference to the president of the tribunal, and then if it's a state bench, divisional bench, then president will refer it to another member in same state bench or a member of another state bench. If it is principal bench, then another member of the principal bench, otherwise to a member of another state bench. And then based on majority, whatever is the final decision, that will be considered as the decision of the tribunal. Rectification of error possible, review is not possible. Tribunal cannot review its order. Withdrawal, sir, yeah, withdrawal is possible. Once you have filed an appeal, if there is some mistake, then before final acknowledgement you can withdraw, no need of approval from appellate tribunal. After final acknowledgement, if you file a withdrawal application, it will be heard by tribunal within 15 days, and within 15 days that has to be closed. But sir, at present is there a tribunal? No. So CBIC has issued a circular that departments are initiating recovery proceedings, because say suppose I lost the case in appellate authority, where will I go? Appellate tribunal, but tribunal is not there, so I have not filed any appeal. So department used to recover 90%. Which 90%, sir? 10% I have already paid as pre-deposit here. 90% they used to recover. Now CBIC has issued a circular that on the GST portal, if you make a deposit of additional 20% and give a letter to the jurisdictional officer that I am going to file an appeal, see I have already made another pre-deposit of another additional 20%, then the recovery will be stayed. Even high courts have given this, saying that recovery will be stayed if you pay additional 20%. Once tribunal comes into existence, then the appeal can be filed, and the amount which you have paid now as 20%, that will be adjusted towards the pre-deposit which you need to pay later on. Clear with this? Yes. Okay. Then two very important provisions. One, CBIC, the board, CBIC has a power. It can set up monetary limits, saying that if the amount of disputed between the assessee and department is up to these limits, then don't file appeal. Because see, department also incurs a lot of expenditure whenever a appeal is going on. So that's why department, CBIC can set up limits. Have they set up the limits, sir? Yes. For appellate tribunal, if the matter is up to 20 lakh, please don't file an appeal. That's what they have given a direction to officers. Can I go ahead and file an appeal? Yes. Assessee is not covered. These are limits which board has given for department officers. High Court 1 crore, Supreme Court 2 crores. Now what are these amounts, sir? First of all, these are disputed amounts. But sir, disputed what? Tax, interest, penalty. Now, if the order is of tax, interest, penalty, late fee, everything, then all the taxes needs to be considered together, not just CGST. This 20 lakh is not just for CGST. CSI, compensation cess, everything will be considered. If the matter is only of interest, then all the interest. If the matter is only of penalty, then only penalty. If the matter is for late fee, all late fees. Sir, what if it is interest, penalty, late fee? Now, if the matter is for interest, penalty, late fee, then all three total for all the types CSI will be considered. But if it is for tax, interest, penalty, late fee, then only taxes. Careful with this. Then only taxes to check this 20 lakh, 1 crore or 2 crore. Composite order. Sir, what is composite order? For 2 or more SCNs. One order passed, then all the taxes, you don't have to see it SCN wise, you will see it order wise. Then government has very clearly said that there are some cases where there is no need to check monetary limit, you can directly file an appeal to tribunal or high court. First is anything which questions the constitutionality of a provision, or it is the wires of the provision is being disputed. Assessee is saying it's ultra wires to the act. Board may also issue some instruction saying that for some matters appeal should be filed. Or matter of valuation, classification, refund or place of supply which has a recurring impact, because valuation will have a recurring impact, classification will have a recurring impact, refund will have a recurring impact, place of supply will have a recurring impact. So if the transaction is of recurring nature, then these limits need not be checked. So this is the broad framework which is given by department. Now remember that the section clearly says that if a person being officer has not filed an appeal due to monetary limit, that doesn't mean he has accepted it. That means for some other tax period, for some other person or for the same person, can department issue show cause notice and initiate appeal proceedings? The answer is yes. In this matter, they have not filed appeal not because they have accepted, but because the limits have not been crossed. Clear? Okay. Then finally you have non-appealable orders. This has been asked already. 4 cases: transfer from one officer to another. This order is passed by commissioner. Commissioner can pass an order of transfer of case from one officer to another. You cannot file an appeal against that transfer, saying that I don't like this officer, no, let me continue with the previous officer only. Then seizure order, which happens during search, that is not appealable. You can appeal after that, whatever proceedings continue, show cause notice is issued, all that is appealable, not seizure order. Then order of sanctioning prosecution, initiating criminal proceedings against a person which will be heard in a criminal court, that order cannot be challenged. And last one, order under section 80, that is payment in installment. Say suppose order is passed under section 80 that we will not give you installment scheme, you cannot go ahead and file an appeal against that. These are non-appealable orders. Okay, let's quickly go through it. Some cases, production of additional evidence is also not accepted. What are those cases, sir? See, additional evidence, as you know, we are very good at creating evidence. So additional evidence will not be accepted except for 4 cases. Where the department has refused to admit it, department passed an order without giving an opportunity to be heard, prevented by sufficient cause and those documents were called upon, prevented by sufficient cause and those informations are relevant to the matter. You have to prove the sufficient cause. Okay, let's quickly revise what we have discussed. See, if the order is passed by superintendent or ACDC, you will go to JC appeal. Passed by JC or additional commissioner, commissioner appeal. These two are called as appellate authorities. First level of appeal, pre-deposit, admitted liability plus 10%, maximum 25 crores. 3 months plus 1 month, 6 months plus 1 month. Revisional authority has passed an order, you will directly go to tribunal. You are not happy with the appeal, first level appeal, you will go to tribunal. Tribunal assessee 3 plus 3, department 6 plus 0. Admitted liability plus additional 20%. In the first level, section 129, if order is passed, 25% of the amount will be the pre-deposit, because that will be a order only for penalty, and here it all says disputed tax, because in 129 there is no tax, there is only penalty which can be levied. Then appellate tribunal, two forms, state bench, principal bench. State bench will hear other than place of supply, principal bench will hear place of supply. Principal bench directly Supreme Court, state bench High Court, Supreme Court, 180 days and 60 days. Then revisional authority, for superintendent ACDC it is JC or AC, and for JCAC commissioner. Then they can change it if it is erroneous. 4 cases where they cannot change it, it's already in appeal. Before 6 months or after 3 years they cannot change it. It is already a revisional order or it is taken up for revision, then these 4 cannot be changed. So up to 3 years they can revise the order. Say suppose one particular matter in one order has not been decided by the courts, then can it be revised? The answer is yes, revision is permitted. 1 year from the date of appellate authority, appellate tribunal, High Court, Supreme Court order, 3 years from initial order, whichever is later. Time period for the stay is excluded. Time period spent for some other person in the same matter from tribunal to High Court, High Court to Supreme Court will be excluded. Then online available directly. Online appeal, the order is not available, submit a self-certified copy within 7 days. Then the date of filing appeal, that is provisional acknowledgement, is final, the date of filing the appeal. If you submit it after 7 days, the date when you submit that order, that will be considered as date of filing appeal. Tribunal, principal and state bench, beware of the fees, beware of difference of opinion. Then board can set up limits saying that if it does not cross these limits, then please don't file an appeal. They are instructing to the officers. Tribunal 20 lakh, High Court 1 crore, Supreme Court 2 crores. All the matters, if it's a order of tax, interest, penalty, fee, only tax. If it is interest, penalty, fee, all 3. If it is only interest, then simple. If it is only penalty, only penalty. Late fee, then late fee will be considered. Composite order for 2 or more show cause notices, order wise and not show cause notice wise. Constitutionality, ultra vires, board, valuation, classification, something which has a recurring impact, then in that case an appeal can be filed even if it is below these numbers. If department has not filed an appeal because of these numbers, then they cannot be said to have accepted this. For some other matter, they can still go ahead and file an appeal or issue a show cause notice. Non-appealable orders for transfer from one officer to another, seizure order, sanctioning prosecution and installment order. Clear with this? Yes. See you all in the next video.